Indira, if you could just provide the audience a little bit of background about what you do and yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Indira Malladi. I'm the Senior Manager for Research and Development at Curio. My primary focus at Curio is to support clinical operations as well as commercial operations for a number of our implementations. In terms of background about Curio, I'll be very brief. It is a digital health company. We are based in Princeton. We are a startup, and we focus on developing evidence-based behavioral and health interventions for women across the cycle of life.
And really impressive. And I have to say, it's been impressive working with you on the Curio study. As the principal investigator in the study, I've been really enjoying the work with you and just your leadership and what you do to bring research to life within Curio, and just an incredible app in general. And I think one of the things that we're talking about today, because of it being Women's Health Month and just obviously mental health is so predominant in that, is around the leadership that you're presenting and Curio is presenting in the area of mental health and women's health. If you could talk a little bit about your role there in terms of generating evidence and making sure that as director of, as manager of R&D at Curio, what that means to you as the leader there of evidence generation.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of, what I do as the manager for research and development, I work closely with several of our teams, our product team, as well as our commercial team, to understand what the evidence generation needs are, where there are gaps, where we are strong, and to design studies, including writing the protocol, often in collaboration with the HITLAB team to fill those evidence generation needs. One of the other things I think is really critical is that we've done very in-depth research on, what has already been done in the field of perinatal mental health and what gaps are there overall that we can help fill, and how can we design studies that answer those pertinent questions.
Yeah, that's absolutely critical, right? Because it's all about the right questions that we're asking. And when you look at digital health solutions overall, and you obviously are one of the experts in this area, for women's health and mental health, where do you see the ability for digital health solutions to bridge this health equity gap that we see across the ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll speak specifically about women in the perinatal period and digital forward apps or platforms that support them. But I think a lot of those learnings are actually applicable across the ecosystem. So, specifically for women in the perinatal period, there are huge barriers to accessing behavioral health care. I will also just say, as an aside, our flagship product is called MamaLift. It is a Class 1 device that reduces risk of anxiety and depression for women who are currently pregnant or who have recently delivered. Despite ACOG guidelines, that's the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, many women are still not screened for behavioral health conditions in the perinatal period. We know that about 63% of OBGYNs report finding it too difficult to screen women for behavioral health conditions. And even of those who are screened and identified to be at risk, 75% of them receive no treatment at all. Of those who do, there's additional challenges. It's hard to find time to make an appointment. You may forget about making your appointment. If you do get an appointment, it's often 3 to 4 months out, which is particularly salient for the 1 in 3 Americans who live in the federally designated mental health professional shortage areas. 1 in 3. It's really startling, can be extremely difficult to get face time with a mental health provider. Especially for women in the perinatal period, there's so many additional barriers: childcare issues, transportation issues, cost, stigma, and for those who have returned to work, the inability to take time off from work to take care of mental health. And when you do finally see a therapist, it's often once a month at maximum. And when you look at the racial and ethnic disparities too, you'll see some really, really startling things. You'll see that, among African American women, they are 57% less likely to start treatment for postpartum depression, and Latina women also 47% less likely than white women. Number of reasons for that: racial bias, stigma in that community, challenges getting care in the first place. I think digital is really well positioned to have a completely different journey for patients. Our digital solutions include AI-enabled algorithms and built-in clinically validated screening tools so that women can be identified way earlier in the patient journey. Rather than waiting until after you have delivered, you can be identified in the second or the third trimester and immediately access a digital forward intervention, evidence-based intervention, as well as Curio's curated network of therapists and coaches who are specialized to treat the conditions that women are facing at these times in their life. The other, aspect too is with the digital solution, and this is the part that I think is widely applicable across the ecosystem, of course, is that you can access these solutions in the privacy of your own home, late at night, while women are, maybe rocking their baby or putting them to sleep or breastfeeding. For Curio in particular, these features of the solutions combined with the curated network really effectively improve access to the contextualized, evidence-based, culturally relevant care that women need.
That spells it perfectly, right? And that's the culturally relevant is so critically important, and the way that Curio is doing that is spot on. And when you talk about Curio, when we always see the tagline "technology with empathy," talk a little bit about empathy and why that's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the tagline for Curio. So across the woman's life cycle, there are so many changes that have an impact on her mental health and her well-being, from adolescence to family planning, pregnancy, childbirth, raising a family, menopause, so many hormonal and physiological changes. And especially when compounded with the psychosocial factors, you often result in symptoms of anxiety and depression. That's why Curio's approach is to really address the whole person health and take an empathetic approach. We're providing behavioral health that is contextualized for the phase of life that the woman is in. And moreover, we're augmenting it with a human touch provided by health coaches and therapists who are trained in maternal mental health and in those the specific challenges that occur in the perinatal period. It's really a paradigm shift away from the traditional model of face-to-face therapy or even telehealth, because this is one platform that recognizes the unique challenges that women face based on their phase of life and provides evidence-based, accessible, and culturally relevant care accordingly.
That's fantastic. Anything you'd like to leave the audience with? Again, we've got folks from all over the world, hundreds of folks listening in here, and obviously would love to hear any other words of wisdom that you can impart before you sign out today. What else would you like to leave the folks with here today?
So, I would say there is, I would say check in on your patients, the women in your life who may be needing additional support. I think there's so much stigma for women who are, often in the workplace, who are facing mental health issues and for whom it's difficult to access, behavioral health care, try to restart the conversation, reframe it as something that is accessible and needed for everyone.
Brilliant. No, that's absolutely fantastic. Again, Indira, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. I know how busy you are, especially working on this big study. So thank you very much for joining, and have a terrific holiday weekend. Take care.
Thank you so much. You too. Take care.